Hello, beautiful humans. I'm Jen Madrone, and in today's video, we're talking about the crazy and intense emotional fluctuations that often happen while we're moving through the process of transformation and awakening and egoic death. And it's really a big occurrence. It happens a lot when we're in the beginnings or going through exceptionally intense part of the process. It's really normal to have a huge range of emotions that come up and move through us. And, most of them can be quite heavy emotions of grief and anger and sadness and fear, and it can make it really hard to function. It can make it so that we don't really want to go out in public much because we might be afraid that we'll break down in tears, or we just feel so much emotion moving through us that we just don't want to hang out with other people, that we have a hard time being present and might even have a hard time being present with our family and with our kids because there's so many emotions moving through us. There's so much that's coming up to the surface and demanding our attention. And it can also make us feel a little crazy with all of those emotions and of all the ups and downs, because in between the periods of grief and sadness and anger, we often have moments of lucidity, moments of just clarity and, even blissfulness sometimes, where we feel really great. And then all of a sudden, the next wave of emotions come through, and we feel a little bit insane because things are moving so quickly through us, and it can make it difficult to do our jobs. It can make it difficult to get the mundane tasks done when we are just really overtaken by the emotional roller coaster of things and feelings moving through us. And this happens during the transformation process, during the awakening process, because once we really begin to wake up, it's like a veil has been lifted off of our eyes, or a, a big block between us and our true self has started to move out of the way. And so, for the first time, probably for the most of our life, we're feeling more than we've ever felt before, because we're starting to connect with ourselves at a deeper level. And so all of the things that we have kept bottled up inside, that we've pushed down, that we've deemed unimportant or too painful or scary to look at, that we've just shoved beneath the surface, it all is able to come up now. It's all starting to rise to the surface so that we can look at it, because these are the things that are blocking us from our true selves. And these are the things that are keeping us from really experiencing and knowing who we are. And so they have to come to the surface. And it comes in the form of emotions quite often, because those are the things that need to be cleared from our body. And the other thing that's happening during this process, there's so much energy moving through us. And we often talk in these videos about the massive amounts of energy that are moving onto this planet, causing this mass awakening, and also, causing us to feel intense vibrations and to really stimulate our own personal growth process. And so, as these energies move through us, they are stimulating all of the things that have been latent in us, been sleeping in us, and are now able to come up to the surface to be cleared. It's like an emotional detoxification process that's happening. And so it's really important to let these emotions move through us. And I remember, going through this at one point in my life. It was particularly challenging, and just spending evenings just crying most of the night, when I was going through the dark night of the soul stuff, and just crying and crying and crying and crying, and realizing, that I was feeling things that I had never felt before. And there was a huge range of emotions, and it was a purging, and it was a clearing. And often after these nights of crying, I would feel amazing. I would feel so much clearer and lighter, because it really can be an important part of the process. And it's we often hear that emotions are energy in motion, because that's exactly what they are. It's energy moving through our body. And so we have to remember to let it move. If we try to stuff it back down or get stuck on the story that goes with the emotions, then the emotions are just going to build and build and build like a volcano in us. If we're able to let the emotions move out and the energy continue to move out, then we'll get that purging and cleansing and clearing effect, and it won't take as long as when we really hold on to that story, or when we let our mind take over this process of emotional clearing. I also learned a lot about emotions from my kids, watching them when they're really little, where they would be, one would be super pissed off at her sister, and they'd be like crying and fighting and screaming. And then 2 minutes later, they're done and they're laughing. And at first I thought, that's kind of crazy, but actually it's super beautiful and healthy, and it's something we can learn from our kids, to just let the emotions move through us and not hang on to us. There's a lot we can learn from our kids. But when emotions keep coming up over and over again, especially when they're similar emotions like anger or sadness or grief, when they keep coming up and we keep feeling overwhelmed by the same emotion, it's often connected to something deep that we need to move, and that we may have a hard time seeing what it is on our own, because we've been hiding from it for so long. And so that is a really good time to go deep and try to see what that emotion is connected to. What is it that you need to clear? Is it past traumas? Is it past beliefs? Is it, a certain way that you're talking to yourself with your thoughts? What is it that needs to be shifted and cleared and moved? And so it can also be an incredible tool, as well as an incredible cleansing process. So if you are feeling overwhelmed by emotions right now, and you're going through this roller coaster, and you're ready to get off, or ready to get some more clarity about what is happening, then please private message me, and we can talk and see if we're a vibrational match to work together. And I can help you move through these issues that are coming up for you. And if you have any other questions, leave them here in the comments. And just saying hi to everybody who's here: Jessica and Vanessa, Tressa, Charlize, hi Chris, and Shell. Thanks, you guys, for listening and just for being here, and sending massive love to you all. So I'll see you in the Facebook group. Have a great night.